Hey there, dance family. I wanted to make you a quick video around 6 tools that I think are the most important when you are going after a big dream or when you feel like you have a big vision that you want to bring forward and there just seems to be a lot of uncertainty, right? Things we haven't done before, it's going to be easy to just say, well, geez, I don't know, and to not do anything about it, right? So these are the 6 things that I recommend, and these are the 6 steps that I have taken in order to bring my full capacity of my work out into the world in such a big way in these last 2 years. And it's also what I help other people do. So I wanted to break it down for you quickly in some of these steps. The first is commitment. So commitment is the foundational layer that makes all things possible. Without commitment, you are giving yourself too many outs to give up, right? So even if there is a commitment for a small amount of time, meaning I'm going to pursue this for 6 months, I'm going to pursue this for a year, and sticking to it no matter what is essential, right? There are so many reasons why people give up, because things feel hard, because they don't have the support, because they're not sure what to do. But if there is a daily commitment in your schedule, meaning that you have a small task that you can move the needle forward slightly with, you will stay in the game, probably long term. Yeah. So commitment's number one. Number two is compassionate curiosity. And I say compassionate curiosity because there will be a lot that comes up for you while you move into these higher levels of expansion, right? So you're going to be meeting parts of yourself that have resistance. You're going to be meeting parts of yourself that don't feel good enough. You're going to be meeting parts of yourself that fear failure and many things of that nature. And if you can stay in a state of compassionate curiosity, you will be able to move through them. You will be able to say, geez, what's this feeling? What's this about? What is this stopping me doing? And being able to move through it in recognition. So compassionate curiosity, I talk about that a lot in my teacher training. Number 3 is related to number 2. So I'm talking about subconscious repatterning. So once you become aware of the things that are in your way, the things that are hard to get over, and you bring the compassionate curiosity to them, you are able to release them, you're able to move through them. The next piece is the subconscious repatterning, where you let go of something that was, and you immediately also bring in the new quality. So they say nature abhors a vacuum, right? So as you are releasing the limiting beliefs, you are releasing all of the I can't, I shouldn't, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. You're going to also bring in something that you can work with, right? And it's not about just slapping an affirmation on top of something. This is deep, lasting work, right? So the subconscious repatterning is really essential to keep moving forward, because you will ultimately meet all of these blocks that have been lingering in the subconscious since you were probably a child, right? So my skill set is really to also support you in that. I have about 20 years experience walking people through this, and it's easy. I mean, I want to say it's easy on every level. I mean, you have to kind of feel it and move through it, but the process itself is something that once learned, you can do over and over. The fourth is claiming your unique imprint. And what I mean by that is it's okay for you to be out of the box, and actually it's preferred, because we have a sea of people on the internet talking about all sorts of mundane, ordinary things that lots of people have heard before. So in truly standing out in what you do, the best thing you can do is actually bring your full self to the table, which sounds really good, but at the end of the day, what that truly means is being vulnerable. Being able to share about difficult experiences, being able to stand in your truth, and not being afraid of what happens, because usually it's nothing anyway, right? Most people will commend you for being honest and vulnerable, I've found. And it also makes a point of empathic relatability, right? When you can really speak to the truth of your story, what you've experienced, what you've been through. And not only that, I want to say my people are typically like the quiet rebels, and I understand that archetype a bit because we're the ones who feel an inner disquiet about what's happening in the world or things that we've witnessed over time that don't sit right with us, and we know that there's something we want to do about it. And maybe we're not super loud and extroverted, but we feel this sense of like something about that needs to change, and I'm feeling called to address it, right? So that's your gems. Like those are the things that you really want to connect into. Yeah. And I'm really good at supporting pulling that stuff out of you. So the fifth part is clarity, visioning, and then also implementing some structures, right? So clarity on what you want to do, visioning what's possible long term, and then implementing the correct structures. And this kind of goes back to the commitment piece, right? So implementing the steps, right? And once you have an outline of how to get from here to there, all of a sudden this big massive mountain becomes a little step, right? And with the structure, you just go step after step and your nervous system can relax, right? So having the right structures in place to support your journey is essential. Yep. And lastly, number 6 is receiving support from someone who sees you, who's been on the path, who gets it, and who has done the work. And I'm going to say that there's a sea of coaches and all sorts of people out there who proclaim to do lots of things and they charge lots of money, and some of them are good and some of them are not. So it's really about you discerning, finding a person who you feel meets you in your heart level, who sees you truly, who hears you and can vision with you. And I've found that that has been the absolute most crucial piece of my business in terms of make or break. There's, one coach in particular that has truly helped me, and it's really because she can see more than I can in terms of my potential. She can see more than I can in terms of what's the bigger vision. And without this, I would stay small. So I hope that's helpful. And if you have any questions or this, about any of these things, I would love to kind of connect with you about it. Real quick also, if you're interested in the teacher training and you've been kind of like checking it out, but you're not really sure what it's about, I do connection calls. You can just book a call with me. You can also apply and we'll get on a call and kind of see if it's a good fit. And there's no pressure. It's not like a big deal, right? It's just kind of a check-in and we get to learn about each other. The content of the course is pretty thorough. It's the most comprehensive thing that I could fit in under a year of my entire life's work and journey in this, which has been about 22 years. And we start with moving through the chakra system, and we do that as a template of something that you can use as a teacher, right? I teach you like an entire method that I crafted. But it's also for you to really reclaim the pieces of yourself and to move through the absolute necessary part of self-trust, right? So that is the first 2 modules of the course. It's very depthful and it's very intense, and it's a huge part of the personal growth in this course. The second thing, or the third module, that was a lot of syllables. The third module is actually about body language and dance. So this is something that not a lot of people talk about. I learned about body language when I was doing body work and had my hands on people, and learning about how things got stuck in the body, where the stored emotions were, what was causing the physical problems, right? And it was this mental emotional component to the outer physical gestural habit, right? So this is a big part of what we study in terms of how we use choreography and how we work with choreography as a healing tool, because body language in itself is the expression of all the things unsaid, right? So it's a really, really powerful topic. It's super important in the course, and people get so much out of it once they start really reading and learning the body in these different ways. And you can work with your students from a completely different place. It's so different than just working with the physical body. The next module is learning styles and strengthening your communication. Again, I talk about pieces of the Simonson method and also the collared method of body work. where we speak to all the individuals in the room. We speak to the right brain learners, the left brain learners, the auditory, the visual, the kinesthetic learners. There's even more beyond that, but learning how to use your language to address people in the rooms is probably one of the most fundamental aspects of teaching. Because a lot of people have one predominant style and they just think that people understand them because it makes sense to them. And most of the time, that's not true, right? Most of the time, people are operating in this one way, and people who like that kind of teacher are that kind of style. But most often, you're going to get a mixed bag of people in your group, in your classes, in your trainings, and you want to know how to speak to all of them, right? So this is really amazing. And once I started implementing this in my classes, people always tell me, like, you are the best teacher. And it's not even me. Like, it's really just the method of language and learning how to speak to everyone in the room. And it's really clear and it's teachable. So the modules after that, we've got safe space and boundaries, intuitive teaching, also developing your personal practices, right? So I'm going to teach you about how to hold safe space in the classroom, how to create that, how to create the boundaries for yourself and others in the classroom so that people are all working in a way that they feel really safe to express themselves. Most important. We go into world dance in module 6. That is going to be talking about 4 different styles from across the globe. I used to be a college professor and teach world dance. So some of this is my passion about anthropology and world dance and just dance as personal power and how important it is to understand the larger trajectory of why humans dance and what that connects us to, and holding that as a teacher and really being able to give that to your students. Module 7 is about sound healing. I also talk about gesture and performance and, creating works and things of that nature. It's pretty meaty. But these are all little concepts that you can bring into your classes that you can work and develop workshops with. Sound healing has been absolutely pivotal in my work with dancers and in changing how people experience performance and how people experience their own sense of connection to themselves through these different vibrations, right? And the last 2 modules are like my signature method, which is the personal choreography making. So this is using dance as a healing art form, and it's using choreography as a transformative tool. It's a method that I started developing about 20 years ago, 22 years ago, and I really put the finishing touches on it in graduate school. And this is creating dances with and for people so that it brings them from one place to something else, right? So you use the choreography as a transformation. And this is really different from 5 rhythms. It's really different from dance therapy. It's different from just going to a dance class, right? This is really a different way of working. And it puts all of the other modules together, right? So if this is interesting to you, hop on a call with me. I'd love to learn more about you and get to know you. We have an amazing global community of people from everywhere. I have a retreat that I'm leading in New York next week, and then we're doing a retreat in Greece in October. So those are all of the updates, and I'm wishing you a beautiful day and sending all my love. See you soon.